Hi and welcome to Terry Talks Movies. This time around I'm doing a list of 10 or 12, depending on how you count them, box sets that I recommend people have in their collections. I realise not everybody can afford to buy box sets. I'm fully aware of that. But I don't want you to look at these box sets the same way that Andy Griffith looked at Lee Remick in A Face in the Crowd. Just add them to your list. If you see them cheaply or secondhand or in a thrift store, buy them. So they're recommendations, not you must get this. Let's get started with one of the obvious ones. Alfred Hitchcock, The Essential Collection. This is your giant Alfred Hitchcock movies, the ones that really landed hard in the late 1950s and early 1960s. So in this one you've got Rear Window, Vertigo, Psycho, North by Northwest, and The Birds. So all of your major films from that peak period in the career of Hitchcock. There's the back of the box and all of the films. It says over 15 hours of bonus features, documentaries, expert commentaries, interviews, screen tests, storyboards, and much more. So this one you should definitely have in your collection if you are collecting physical media. I believe there are 4K versions of this, but I don't necessarily need to have all of my Hitchcock in 4K. I think I've only got one, which is Vertigo. These ones are a good everyday box set of these films to get, and you should have them. Let's jump to something very different because there are a lot of genres in these box sets, so I'm covering a lot of ground here. This is one that Arrow Video put out just a short time ago. It's got 4 movies, 100 Monsters, Spook Warfare, along with Ghosts, and the Great Yokai Award, directed by Takashi Miike. And it is the Yokai Monsters Collection. This one I like a lot. I like Yokai, Japanese household ghosts and spirits. They are fantastic. And there is actually a Yokai museum in Tokyo, which I would love to get to one day. Whether I do or not, who knows. But 100 Monsters, Spook Warfare, and Along with Ghosts is in the first of the boxes. Is it a single disc? No, it's actually a couple of discs. So you've got those. There's a little card there for other things that Arrow does there. So they're high quality, good transfers too. I've seen a DVD version of this with worse transfers, but these are pretty sharp. And then you've got the Great Yokai Award, directed by Takashi Miike. But there's more. You also get a booklet explaining everything, which is always great, and with a good cover on it. And then best of all, this is almost as good as the movies. A big long poster with all the yokai monsters in it. And on the other side, we've got descriptions of who they are and what they do, which is very cool. I am big on yokai. And if you collect antiques, you should be careful because any household item more than 100 years old has a chance of becoming a yokai monster. There it is. I really like that. That's a great package. That's a good pickup on some interesting films. Most of them are from the 1960s. The Great Yokai War is from much, much later. I think it is 21st century. A lot of extras in there, and you can start going down that rabbit hole of Japanese mythological monsters and just have a great time with it. Fernando Crime Collection, 1970s Italian crime drama set in and around Milan. These have great car chases, gratuitous nudity, tons of violence, and they are 4 movies which I highly recommend from that period of Italian crime dramas when everything was just nuts. You got Rulers of the City with Jack Palance in it. Good, tough crime drama in the days when he was smoking cigarillos. I'll save that one for last because I like it. Caliber 9, which is a full-on tough crime drama. You got The Boss with Henry Silva and that beautiful 1970s style Italian poster art. And best of all, my total favourite, the Italian Collection with Mario Adolf, Henry Silva, Woody Strode, and Adolfo Celli. This one is the one to see. In this one, you've got a Mario Adolf playing a pimp called Luca Canali, who gets on the wrong side of the mafia, and 2 mafia hitmen come over from America to knock him off. And Canali goes totally apeshit. He is a total wrecking ball of a character. There's the 3 of them on the back. Really tough crime drama with some totally over-the-top WTF action in it. There is a small booklet as well, which gives you a lot of context to the movies. And the booklet is in English, so you can find out who the character actors in it are, the details of production, all that kind of stuff. Nice little collection, this one. I believe it has also been released on Blu-ray, but I'm happy with the DVD version of it. And every now and then I'll watch The Italian Connection when I feel like just a totally crazy crime drama. Couple of things from Arrow Video. And Arrow Video does such random stuff at times. Weird Wisconsin, the Bill Rebane collection. It has The Alpha Incident, which I like a lot, Invasion from Inner Earth, Twister's Revenge, Monster a Go-Go, The Demons of Ludlow, and a documentary called Who is Bill Rebane? Inside you've got a poster. I'm not going to open it up, but it's the same cover art as the other ones. Monster a Go-Go, which is one of his first movies, shot out in Wisconsin in the wintertime, kind of science fiction-y thing. The Alpha Incident, which is the cherry on top of this collection, and Who is Bill Rebane? So the other movies are on these discs as well. And then you've got a booklet from Latvia to Wisconsin. The song remains Rebane. So you've got a hardcover booklet just giving you who is Bill Rebane and his career in movies. So I love the extras on this one. Really nicely packaged. I believe if you go onto Arrow's website, if they still have them, I saw the price had been reduced, so you may still be able to find it quite cheaply. Roughly the same time, they put out another one, which is quite fun as well. It came from the swamp, the William Graffey collection. Naked Zoo, which has Rita Hayworth in it. Sting of Death, which is a freaky science fiction thing. Death Curse of Tatu, The Hooked Generation, The Psychedelic Priest, The Naked Zoo, Mako Jaws of Death, which has Richard Jekyll in it, who has a kind of telepathic relationship with a shark. Whiskey Mountain, and He Came from the Swamp. So you've got the booklet again, a hardcover booklet about the director. Mako Jaws of Death and The Naked Zoo are on that one. They're both on the same disc, but there's plenty of room for them there in the quality they were able to get. Sting of Death and The Death Curse of Tatu are on that one. Whiskey Mountain and The Swamp. And Hook Generation, The Psychedelic Priest are on that one. So these are two box sets. About very marginal movie directors showing crazy films with low budgets, low production value, and sometimes high actors. But if you're interested in cult, drive-in movie kind of things, you're going to enjoy these too. Now, if you want some FBI crime drama from Germany in the 1960s, based on a long-running German crime magazine, G-Man Jerry Cotton, with George Nader in it. George Nader came over from America to make European movies, partly because his career was tanky because he was gay, and partly because that's where the money was and the studio system had broken down. You've got a ton of movies in these. This is actually in German, but there are English dubs on some of them, and the ones that don't have the English dubs have the subtitles. Each is on a different DVD, so you don't have two movies on one DVD. You got that one. You've got Murder Club in Brooklyn. You've got a weird modern Jerry Cotton movie on that one. And that one, some of them are in colour, some are in black and white, some have location shooting in New York City, and some of them were shot entirely in Germany, trying to make 1960s Germany look like New York or some other part of America. It's a weird series of movies. There was one in the 2010s where someone did a retcon on it the way they did with OSS Sans Decept. There's also a booklet here which is in both English and German. So I picked this up for not a real big amount of money on eBay. I don't know where else you would buy it, but if you're interested in really quirky crime movies from the 1960s, you might get sucked down the rabbit hole into the Jerry Cotton universe. There's also great soundtracks on them by Peter Thomas, and the soundtracks have been put out on a double CD set a while ago called 100% Cotton, and I really like those ones. They're not a vulgar pleasure as much as a kind of hidden gem pleasure for me to watch those. Next one's from Severin Films, and this is the only thing I've got from Severin Films because they're prohibitively expensive getting any movies from Severin Films here in Australia. But I got the first collection of this. There is a second one, and it's the Eurocrypt of Christopher Lee, with a whole bunch of European Christopher Lee obscurities. You got 8 Blu-rays, 5 classic European films, a Polish TV anthology series called Dance Macabre, bonus disc of rare interviews, plus a photo pack book and a soundtrack CD. So it's in one of these boxes. There's the TV series Dance Macabre that Christopher Lee did in Poland. Sherlock Holmes and Deadly Necklace, which he made in Germany, and it was directed by Terence Fisher. And that one is quite interesting as well. Challenge the Devil, which is a real obscurity, but a lot of fun and quite unusual for Christopher Lee in some ways. The Torture Chamber of Dr. Sadism, which is almost like a gothic giallo kind of thing in wonderful colour. Crypt of the Vampire, which is kind of a lesser one, a black and white movie with Christopher Lee there on the back. Castle of the Living Dead, which is not my favourite, but it's got a great production design. The dungeons and things like that are beautifully done in that one. And you got Jonathan Rigby's Christopher Lee, The Continental Collection, a book of essays and pictures as well, with a groovy picture of Christopher Lee on the back. Yeah, Severin does a wonderful job on things. They're doing the Black Emmanuel series at the moment. It's very expensive, but geez, it's a nice collection of that too. They've done a second collection of Christopher Lee Eurocrypt movies. A lot of fun. I'm glad I got the first one, but I probably won't be able to get the second one. While we're on the subject of horror, this one should be in collection if it isn't already. It's a fantastic collection. I got the Blu-rays, but there is a 4K release of this stuff out there. And it is Universal Monsters, The Essential Collection, which has got all of your big hitters: Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, The Invisible Man, The Bride of Frankenstein, The Wolfman, Phantom of the Opera, and Creature from the Black Lagoon. Really nice box set. It's in one of those accordion case kind of things. I'm not going to open it up for you. There are postcards in there as well. It's a really nice collection. Mine's a little bit ratted and tattered because I've had it for a number of years. If you want these movies, you just want to pull them down from the shelf, watch a few of them, give yourself a bit of Frankenstein, maybe Bride of Frankenstein, a double feature. You could do worse. There are a ton of extra features on these, and I really like it for that. You'll find these around. I think I've seen it recently here in Australia at JB Hi-Fi, and I know there's a lot of them selling on eBay, for instance, because people are upgrading to 4K, and so they're getting rid of their old ones. But this should be in your collection in the same way that the Hitchcock Collection should be. I won't do much on this one because I recently reviewed it, and it is Enter the Video Store, Empire of Screams, the Arrow Video Collection, with the Dungeon Master, Dolls, the Cellar Dweller, Arena, and Robot Jocks, all the Charles Band joints from the 80s and 90s. Really nice collection. In fact, I should show it that way so you can see the titles. And of course, the box is set out like a video store, giving it that extra curb appeal for nostalgia. Enjoyed all the movies. Some of them are better than others. Arena's in a fairly low res format because it's the best they could get on that. But the rest of them, including Cellar Dweller, which is a real fun movie, and Robot Jocks, which is science fiction, and they tried really hard to get it right. And the Dungeon Master, which is just mind-blowingly weird. And Dolls is creepy as hell as well. Good collection, and if you can afford it, this should be in your collection. I believe Arrow have dropped the price on this as well. As many as I can, I will post links to all of these box sets on the description of the video. They are links where I do get a little bit of a kickback from Amazon Associates if you happen to buy the box set. Down to the kind of last two or three. Shorescope Volume 1 and Volume 2. Enormous books in these with tons and tons of extras in them, and the movies themselves. You've got all the heavy hitters: King Boxer, the Boxer from Shantung, 5 Shaolin Masters, Chinatown Kid, the 5 Venoms, Heroes from the East. In the second one, you got the 36th Chamber of Shaolin. You've got Return to the 36th Chamber. You've got My Young Auntie, which is hilariously good fun. Mercenaries from Hong Kong, Martial Arts of Shaolin. This is such a premium box set. It does cost a little bit, but it's totally worth it, as indeed is the first volume. And because part of my journey as a cinephile was to see these movies in Hong Kong style cinemas in Sydney's Chinatown back in the 1970s, I have a particular love for them, and these copies look a lot better than the ones I saw in the cinema, with the really pale subtitles that were washed out if anything white came across the screen. But I'm really fond of them. Part of it's nostalgia, but part of it's also appreciating the artistry and the athleticism of all the actors in these, and the silliness of the comedy, and the seriousness with which everybody takes everything else. The Hong Kong cinema of the 1970s and 1960s was and will always be something special. Go to France for a change. Comedy. I don't have. I've got a few comedy box sets. I've got like a George Formby comedy box set, and all the Carry On movies in that. But French ones, if you're going to get a French comedy box set, Jacques Tati. This version, the restored collection from Studio Canal, is fantastic. It's got all of the great Jacques Tati movies in it. It's got Jour de Fête, Monsieur Hulot's Holiday, which is terrific, Mon Oncle, Playtime, Traffic, and Parade. So you've got the whole career as a filmmaker of Jacques Tati, with incredible physical comedy, beautiful use of sound effects to enhance the comedy, tremendous creativity, a love of filmmaking as an art, and he was one of the people who questioned modernism, particularly in things like Mon Oncle, Playtime, and Traffic, where it was a slightly bucolic guy confronting and confounding modern technology. All of these Jacques Tati movies are really treasures, and I'm glad I've got this box set. It's something extraordinary, and if you haven't jumped down the rabbit hole of watching Jacques Tati movies, you should. Particularly if you're going to start out with something like Jour de Fête or Monsieur Hulot's Holiday. Those would be the kind of gateway drugs for Jacques Tati's work, and then you can get into the later works, which are modern, and there's a kind of humanity and a humane gentleness to the Jacques Tati movies that I love a lot. So that's it. That's all of the boxes I've got for you this time. I could probably do this 2 or 3 times with more boxes. Let me know if you want me to. So thanks a lot for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, hit the notification bell. If you can't think of a comment, leave me an emoji and I'll give you some emojis back. You can also support the channel by becoming a channel member, and there's a link in the description on how to do that. Or you can donate and become a patron at patreon.com/TerryTalksMovies. Thanks to the members and the patrons for chucking in a few bucks to help me with the gear to make these videos. We've got Science Fiction Saturday coming up next. I've got some interesting ideas for that. But until then, watch some good movies, watch some bad movies. Grab a box set or two and just sit down and binge them out and chill out a little bit, because the world is a fast and crazy place. And I'll catch you next time.